Trump is simply saying, well, we don't recognize that there's Iranian compliance with the July 2015 agreement. But in effect, he's just passing the issue to the U.S. Congress, because Congress then has 60 days to make a decision as to whether or not it wishes to reimpose sweeping sanctions against the Islamic Republic. Certainly, the United States could bring a great deal of economic pressure against Iran, whatever the other powers do, if it increases sanctions. But that does not mean that the deal is scrapped. And indeed, we enter a new phase. Specifically, will the other 5 powers to the deal not only continue to uphold it with Iran, but will they increase their contacts? Now, we know Russia and China are probably going to side with Tehran on this issue. The question is the 3 European powers, Britain, France, and Germany. Do they actually almost defy the United States and say, look, no, we are going to go ahead and encourage trade and investment between our companies and Iranian companies? If Congress does not bring in new sanctions, it means that the deal remains. Maybe the most important point that has been missed. The nuclear deal is just like a symbolic pawn in a much bigger chess game. And that is that the real point of confrontation between Iran and the United States, and indeed other countries, Russia will not only, I think, step up signals of economic cooperation with Iran, it is going to use this for big-time propaganda. It's going to bash Washington and say that Washington is the barrier to stability for all countries, not just the Islamic Republic. That leaves the European countries, and that is the wild card question. When the nuclear agreement was reached in 2015, there was sort of a compromise to kick an issue down the road, and that was Iran's ballistic missile program. The Americans would have preferred limits to be put in the agreement on ballistic missile testing. The Chinese, the Russians, and European powers didn't agree with that. And instead, there was a UN resolution which sort of said, well, we don't want Iran to continue testing of ballistic missiles, but the way Iran reads it, and I think correctly, it did not ban further testing. Iran is sort of restricted in what it can do in terms of direct response to the U.S. Iran, for example, can play even tougher in terms of escalating support to the Assad regime, and Iran can sort of hold out against the ceasefire and toughen its line that Assad may stay in power. Iran could cause problems or at least challenge the United States in Iraq.